All right, so are we just jumping right into this, or is there anything you want to quickly talk about before we discuss this, or?
No, as far as I'm concerned, we're already rolling, and we're going to get right into it. I guess onto the topic du jour. We have been discussing a possible trade since I absolutely decimated you in the draft last week, or however long ago it was. So, got a couple options for you.
Yeah, I've got a notepad on the laptop pulled up here.
Okay, now the crux of this trade started with you receiving Carlos Sainz, me receiving George Russell. Right, that was the basis of the discussion.
That was the original idea, yeah.
Yeah. So I'd like to add on to it and make it either a 2 for 2 or a 3 for 3. Offer number 1 to Adrian. So Adrian receives Carlos Sainz and your boy Valtteri Bottas. And you wanted him. RJ receives George Russell and Pierre Gasly. That's option 1. Consider that.
Okay.
Option 2. Adrian received Carlos Sainz and Kevin Magnussen. And you wanted him. RJ receives George Russell and Oscar Piastri. That's 2. And then the 3 for 3 would just be kind of the combined. So Adrian receives Sainz, Bottas, and Magnussen. RJ receives Russell, Gasly, Piastri. So I don't know if you want to have some time to think those over, and we can record your answer another time, or if you want to quickly. I know thinking on your feet hasn't really worked out well for you in these, but also planning and overthinking hasn't either. So
yeah, it's the thinking too much that's fucked me over. But I don't think I'll do the 3 for 3, just because I think that would change it up too much. But like you said, the original thought process was just the Carlos for George. We just swapped those guys. You're smart. You're very smart. You're smart. I sound like a fucking moron.
Well said.
Yes. You're a smart man. That's why you're the producer and co-host of the show, because I'm obviously too stupid to do anything. But if you had done Carlos and Bottas for Russell and Piastri, I would have said yes on the spot right then, probably. So I think I will take Carlos and Bottas for Russell and Gasly.
Yeah.
If you're willing to do that.
I'm willing to do that. Virtual handshake?
Virtual handshake.
All right. Deal done. So Adrian receives Carlos Sainz, Valtteri Bottas. RJ receives George Russell and Pierre Gasly. I like that. Update the rosters accordingly, but anything else you want to add?
Yes.
Quick.
Before we transition into this week's episode, I just want to quickly say another reason for wanting to do this and why you're seeing this at the start of the episode is because we're recording this on February 23rd. We've only seen the cars on track very briefly, and I told RJ this earlier. I really felt like tonight or today was the last chance that we would have like a real fair, like an equally fair like trade opportunity, because by tomorrow at this time, by the time we're both home and ready to record, there's going to be plenty of info out there, more than today at least. So that's just why we want, or at least I wanted to just go ahead and, if this was going to happen, just go ahead and let it be so we can like fully lock in our teams and fully commit to this season. So yeah, I guess with that, let's get into the episode. Okay, let's do this. And we're back to your regular episode of the Hard or Soft F1 podcast with me and RJ. Let's get into it. All right, RJ, what do we want to start off with?
Well, before we get into yes, we have gone through a little time warp here. We've gone through preseason testing. And before we get into the F1 talk, I actually spent a couple days in your grand old country the other day. So yeah, just Buffalo, just a little jaunt across the border to go to a hockey game. Very Canadian of me, but yeah, my brother and I have birthdays close together, so we kind of shared a present, and we went down to Buffalo to see a game. So that was a lot of fun. It's so much cheaper to just drive down there than go to a Leafs game here. So yeah, it was a lot of fun. Not really too much to report on it, but yeah, it was a good time. It's always interesting going over to the U.S. I'll say that.
That's surprising that it's cheaper to drive over here to do something. It feels like everything's so damn expensive.
Well, Toronto compared to Buffalo,
that's
yeah.
True. That's true. That's like comparing Austin to Houston, I guess.
I'll have to take your word for that, but yeah, sure.
Yeah, I guess, yeah, regional reference.
Yeah.
But your seats that you posted on your Instagram, your personal Instagram, looked just fantastic. Like so close. Like that was badass.
Yeah, we were right on, like, so I guess technically third row, but it was like first row behind the penalty box. So yeah, whenever they're playing Washington, so whenever the Washington guys came in the box, we could, talk right in their ear. I'm sure they didn't hear a word we said, but yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I guess we can jump right back to the weekly quiz. See if you can keep your undefeated streak alive. I got to throw you a bone once in a while because, I've been wiping the floor with everything else. So
that's true.
We'll see. Although you're better at the video game, but we both have our strengths. I'll give you that. I'll be nice to start off the podcast today.
Listen, we're both pretty good at the game. We both have bad luck that strikes us.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that's it. But yeah,
so the weekly F1 quiz, I've already taken it. We're switching up every week. Yep. Last week you beat me again. This week I already have my score. It's in here, my head.
All right.
So you go through it.
Okay. I have the first question. I've had it pulled up for a little bit. I have not Googled it or anything like that. I promise.
All right.
We've got number 1. Which driver set the most laps in preseason testing? Max Verstappen, Lewis Hamilton, Yuki Tsunoda, Fernando Alonso. I'm pretty sure I know this. It's Fernando. Click. Yes. 270 laps. Yeah. Browsing the F1 subreddit will give you a lot of just passive knowledge, both current and past knowledge. So highly recommend that. It's much more valuable than F1 Twitter for sure. So
very true.
Question 2. Which of these drivers set the fastest overall time 2023 preseason testing in Bahrain? I know this. It's Checo. F1 or the Red Bull Instagram made a couple posts about that. It feels good to have him on my fantasy team.
Feels good to have Max.
I bet it does. Number 3, which team set the fewest laps over the 3 days of preseason testing in Bahrain? Ferrari, Aston Martin, HOS, or McLaren? Bro, it's got to be McLaren, right? It is. We all saw, I'm assuming we all saw that Zach Brown statement. Are we going to discuss that at any point?
I didn't put it in, but if we can get to it.
Just basically, he just is kind of prepping the shareholders and the fans for not a great year and explaining why the testing was so disappointing. There will be a big change to the Spanish Grand Prix this season as the final chicane is removed this year. This year, how many turns will there be on the F1 layout of the circuit de Barcelona de Catalunya? 14, 16, 10, or 12? Goddamn, I don't know. I'm going to pick the lowest, 10. Wrong. Yep. Taking 2 corners, leaving turns, leaving 14 turns. That makes sense. I swear to God, I was going to pick 14.
Yeah.
But no one will believe me. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say I'm glad there's good changes that they're making because I hate that weird last little chicane thing they have in Spain. So be happy. You can actually see on the track where it is. You just kind of keep going around instead of doing that weird little last S turn. So good news for the video game players. Oh yeah,
it's kind of funny. We literally played that last night.
Yeah.
We played that GP last night, and I somehow did not in the race, but I spun out twice in qualifying, so that was quite annoying.
Fun track.
Yeah. Oh my God, it was very fun. I did get taken out, but whatever. Just the AI. Anyways, number 5. I'll try to be a little faster. F1 Fantasy launched this week. Which of these F1 Fantasy boosters multiplies one driver's points by 3? I don't fucking know. Limitless, Autopilot, Extra DRS Boost, or Wild Card? Probably DRS Boost. Yep. Extra DRS Boost gives you a 3-time multiplier. Hey, I feel like, have they always done F1 Fantasy? Or is that new?
I think they used to do it, but that's like a new feature, I guess.
I don't want to say we invented that, but we definitely didn't. How many rounds are there in the 2023 F1 Academy calendar? 5, 7, 6, or 8? I don't know. No idea. I did see the news about Susie Wolf in the F1 Academy. That's very cool. Out of all those numbers, my personal lucky number is 7, so I'm going to pick 7. That is correct. God damn it. Oh, no! I clicked the next one. I didn't even read it. And I got it wrong. What the hell? Jody Schechter tells us about his post-F1 businesses, of which there were firearms, farming, and broadcasting. What the fuck was the context of that question?
I got that one wrong, so.
Did you?
Yeah.
I probably would have picked firearms.
That's what I picked.
I'm assuming that's 3 of the answers. God damn. Next, which team's boss said the mood inside his squad was, quote, perfect after testing? Pretty sure that was Mercedes, Ferrari, Red Bull, or Alpine. It was not Alpine. It's Ferrari. Yeah. Knew it. Mercedes have been doing the same thing they did last year, and Red Bull are, they're weird. Their PR is strange. Number 9. This week, which Premier League football club did F1 announce a partnership with? It was Red Bull and AlphaTauri, wasn't it? Pretty sure I saw that Instagram post. All I remember is the name, and it was Hotspur. Correct. Oh, no, it's not. It's
right.
It's not
Hotspurs.
No, it was, but it's not AlphaTauri and Red Bull. Whoops. I guess that was just a post on the F1 Instagram. I follow so many Instagram accounts. They're all the exact same.
Yeah,
it's probably the same admin. Last question. Which team led the lap charts over the 3 days of preseason testing in Bahrain? Red Bull, AlphaTauri, Williams, Aston Martin, or Mercedes? The lap charts. AlphaTauri. Did not know that. Bro, Nick DeVries, he ain't joking. I know we're gonna briefly talk about Drive to Survive, but that he ain't fucking around. I got 7 out of 10. Not terrible. What'd you get?
I got 6. So there you go. The streak continues.
No way! Goddamn. Shit. Oh man, I swear to God, I'm getting just lucky with these.
That's okay.
Oh, I've never seen this part before. You can see what percentage of people picked what, or of each question. That's cool. So yes, that was a lot of questions about preseason testing, and we've been just getting little bits of information. We've, of course, been able to watch a little bit of the broadcast from testing, but testing, of course, is also just, it's almost like, I'm not going to say fiction, but it almost is, because, we've seen so many counter opinions and insider hot scoops or whatever. I forget what, there's just so many different people coming out with sources from various teams, giving, Aston Martin, they're the quickest car. Aston Martin is the 3rd quickest car. Aston Martin's slower than Mercedes. Aston Martin's faster than Mercedes. Red Bull's quicker than Ferrari, vice versa. Mercedes suck. Mercedes are great. It's just it's just so many countering opinions. It's, you don't know what the truth is, but we are going to be finding out very soon.
Yeah, we're only a few days away from the actual season, but I don't know. I think in general, if you don't just go back on Twitter, if you look at the people that were actually in Bahrain for the testing, there's sort of like a general consensus of at least like maybe not 1 through 10, but at least like which teams are good and which teams are bad at the very least. Yeah, it remains to be seen. Like Mercedes, for example, they didn't look very good, but they have a history of sort of sandbagging in testing, and like one of their sources said like people are stupid if they believe testing, but who knows? Well, that's one of the ones we'll have to find out. But yeah, it definitely looks like McLaren not very good, especially like I said, they put out that statement. So kind of have low expectations at least to start. I think they said they're gonna have some upgrades coming in Baku, but obviously Red Bull looked very good. Ferrari looked very good. And yeah, the Aston Martin sort of seems like the wild card. I think a lot of people have it like the pecking order would be right now Red Bull, Ferrari, and then Aston Martin, Mercedes. But I mean, Mercedes could just be kind of holding something back. That's at least what I'm holding out hope for. I think everyone just wants it to at least just be a closer season, whether that's even just Charles and Max again, kind of without the strategy miscues, or if Mercedes can kind of get in that mix. Yeah, I don't know, a lot of people, whether it's just wishful thinking or not, or kind of after testing, kind of saying, like putting Alonso on their podium for this weekend as a prediction. So, I mean, I don't know if I'm going to go that far, but yeah, I don't know. What did you have, aside from like the actual lap times, which, like you said, you have to take with a grain of salt. Did you have any other main takeaways really from preseason, like the testing?
Yeah, I think a lot of the teams, I mean, most of the teams, except for Alpine, have improved from last year, which is a good sign. So Alpine, I don't know. They, according to Otmar, they, have major upgrades coming for the first race. So, I mean, we could see potentially a really amazing battle between Alpine and Aston Martin. There's also Aston Martin, there's a small chance that they're faster than Mercedes. If Aston Martin come out of the gates, like, fighting for podiums in, like, the top 3, that will be, like, a dream come true. Like, and I don't even care for Lawrence Stroll or Lance all that much, obviously. But Alonso, love Alonso, and he's on my team, so that would really be cool. Like you said, I think everybody just doesn't want, it to be the same old. As much as I love Max and he is my favorite driver, I don't want him to just run away with this shit right out of the gate. That's no fun. Nobody wants that. So as far as like teams like McLaren, they're looking really rough. I could see Alpine going either way. Williams have drastically improved. I think the people that are saying that Williams are going to be like fighting Aston or like Alpine and McLaren, and I think that's a little like wishful thinking, but I'm happy to see that at least every single team except Alpine are progressing and showing improvement from last year, because a couple teams really needed that. And another team that also looks, I think, surprisingly good, I think the HOS has a lot more speed than I think anybody's talking about. So I kind of wish I had snagged Kevin Magnussen from you, but also,
your chance.
Yeah, I did have, but that's okay, because I did get Valtteri Bottas, and he and Zhou Guanyu are also looking very good. The Alfa Romeo is surprisingly got some speed under it, so it's got some get up and go. I'm hoping we get a little more like tight battles in the championship and the constructors, not only the drivers.
Yeah, but again, like, so hard to tell. Even with the Alfa Romeo, like, did they have speed because they turned up the engine and had less fuel in the car, or did they have speed because they actually have speed? It remains to be seen. Like,
exactly.
I think most of the cars at least looked better handling. There was no, aside from Alpine and a little bit with maybe a little bit with Ferrari, but not much. I think there was a few teams that had a little bit of porpoising, but there was no major issues, nothing like last year. So it seems at least like teams are sort of, as opposed to last year where it was like a free-for-all, no one knew what they were doing, everyone was trying a bunch of stuff out. Teams are sort of more streamlined in terms of what their plan is for the year. I mean, I still have I still am holding out hope for Alpine that they're going to fight for fourth and fifth. I don't necessarily see them coming up at the top three, but the one thing with Aston Martin that is interesting to me to see, even if they are technically the third fastest car ahead of Mercedes, like I think, and obviously I'm biased, I think they would have to be significantly faster than Mercedes to actually in races to beat Mercedes, just because they essentially, like Alonso 100% you can put him up there with Lewis and probably ahead of George in terms of like rating a driver, but whoever, sure, whether it's Lance or Felipe Drugovich, or unless Seb comes back, which isn't going to happen,
no,
they're really kind of driving with one arm tied behind their back. I was going to try and make a wrist joke there, but I couldn't come up with anything for Lance. But yeah, so like at least Mercedes has two competent drivers, so it'll be kind of hard strategy-wise for Aston Martin to actually compete season long. But yeah, I mean, for Bahrain, I think we might see Aston Martin come out of the gates hot. It might as well just be they had a good testing and they dropped right back down, and it's kind of the exact same where we ended off last year. I think Jeddah is the second race. That might show a little bit more. It's a bit more of a fast track. But yeah, I mean, like I said, Williams looked good. I don't know, AlphaTauri didn't really get much of a vibe from them. They put out a lot of laps, but didn't really get too much of a feel from how they're doing. Just, yeah, I guess the main McLaren probably looked the worst, and then biggest surprise in terms of looking good, Aston Martin. I guess those would be the two swing guys, one way or the other, but it'll all start to pan out in a few days' time. We're Wednesday evening right now. We got cars on track Friday morning, so
so excited.
I guess one more thing, we kind of just touched on it, but Lance Stroll, he missed all of testing. He broke. I mean, the rumors are it's sort of been, I don't know if it's been confirmed. There's pictures of him coming out of the rumors where they broke both his wrists training in a biking incident. Kind of want to say I think it would be funny to see the footage of that, but I would never say that because, you know, I never want to see someone getting hurt. But the picture of him kind of going hands over tea kettle on the bike, or ass over tea kettle on the bike, kind of a funny image. But yeah, I saw him coming out of the hospital. He had something that was stuff in his wrist, so obviously a wrist injury, but don't know. I can't really imagine if you broke both of your wrists that within 2 weeks you could be driving an F1 car. But
no,
Lawrence has all the money in the world, so I don't know. But I say that to say, Felipe Drugovich drove for him briefly in the testing. There was small, like a glimmer of hope, like a few F1 Twitter rumors came up that Sebastian Vettel was going to replace Lance Stroll for the actual GP, but that got shot down very quickly.
Yeah,
and it appears as though Lance will he's going to Bahrain. He's going to be there at least for practice, and it looks like he's going to try and give it a go. And if not, I guess Felipe Drugovich will step in. I don't know. Based on what you've seen, what do you think the chances are that Lance actually, as the only Canadian on the grid now, I have to keep a little bit of a fellow interest out for him. So what do you think his chances are to actually drive this week in the race?
He's going to Bahrain with the intention of racing. So, I mean, it's very possible we could see him, like, at least give it a go in practice. I do think if I had any affiliation with Aston Martin in, like, the higher ups, I would give my 2 cents and say, you know, Felipe has been testing and driving this track all week. You know, we need to let him stay for the rest of the weekend for this track, and then let Lance take this time and start doing the sim and healing and training for Jeddah, get extra prepped. But that's not going to happen. That's not how drivers' brains work. Lance probably is chomping at the bit to get inside that car. He probably is, like, to an extent, humiliated and embarrassed, but I know he wants to get out there and drive. So I think it's pretty likely we're going to see him in the car.
Yeah, I would agree. I think even just how far behind you would get missing what he's already missed, plus if he misses another week.
Yeah.
Alonso kind of, I think he was just paying lip service, but he's talked about how much not having Lance there kind of set the team back because of how important he is, having been on the team already and knowing his way around and all the ins and outs and all that stuff. But I mean, I think he's just kind of saying that for daddy. But I don't know. I think it would also be good for Felipe to get a drive. As far as I know, could be wrong, but I think he won F2 last year. So he's obviously a competent driver. Again, I could be wrong on that. If I'm wrong, I'll put a banner over my head that says idiot or something in the edit. But
he was right.
That was right. So once in a while. But yeah, it would be kind of cool to see him get a shot. Like Nick DeVries got his shot last year, and we saw how well he did. So
yeah,
remains to be seen. But just for the sake of continuity, I guess might as well start the season with Lance. If Seb's not going to come back, isn't Seb like at like 399 or like 299 career Grand Prix or something? Like he's like one short of some sort of marker. Sebastian Vettel. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure it's 299. And I was, when the rumor was that he could come back, I, of course, jumped on the hype train. It was like, his 300th win, he's going to come back and he's going to get some points for Aston Martin. But, I mean, apparently it's coming out now that he wasn't even contacted, that wasn't ever true, which makes sense. He's retired. He's not going to, that would undo pretty much everything to an extent. So it does make sense. But how does it feel having an injured, or how do you feel knowing that Lance could potentially come back, knowing that he's on your team, and that, I mean, that almost certainly means no points. I mean, even if he's ready to drive, I mean, I don't think he hasn't driven the car. That's no points.
Oh, he's been in the sim. He's been living the life all off season. So I don't know if Alonso is getting like rated as potential podium. I think Lance can maybe squeeze out an 8th or 9th. But I don't know. Maybe I'll have a thought on that when I get to our bets for the Grand Prix.
Oh,
maybe I have a quick thought on that. We'll see. But I guess we can move on to. It's enough talk about Lance. That's all he deserves. A little bit of info on the race. The Formula One Gulf Bahrain Grand Prix 2023. So March 3rd, Friday morning, practice 1. Then this is Eastern Standard Time. Practice 1, 6:30 a.m. Practice 2, 10 a.m. Practice 3, Saturday morning, 6:30. Qualifying, 10 a.m. Saturday. Race, 10 a.m. Sunday. So set your alarms. It's a good time for a first race. Quali and race, 10 a.m. I believe there's also F2 this weekend and F3. So if you're hankering for some racing, lots of stuff to watch. Obviously, we've seen a lot of this track. If you watched any preseason testing, you've seen about 1,000 laps going around here. But it does look nicer at nighttime. But the race details, they've raced here since 2004. It's quite a long time. 57 laps. The circuit length is 5.412 kilometers. The race distance 308 kilometers. And the lap record, 1 minute 31 seconds. Pedro de la Rosa. So yeah, very well-known circuit if you played the game or you've watched testing or you've just been a F1 fan for a while. Circuit you should know pretty well.
Oh yeah. It's a fun track.
Do you like it? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's a good track.
Definitely tests. Yeah, like every sort of. It's a good starting track. It tests every sort of aspect. It's not all just straights. It's not all just turns. Sort of tests out everything. There's a couple turns I'm not a huge fan of, but you can have any track. It's definitely.
It's a
good start.
nice long straight with no DRS zone. So it makes sense. Like it's a perfect test track.
Yeah, I think they also changed the main DRS zone to be a little bit shorter. But what are you gonna do about that?
That's okay.
Yeah, I mean, don't really have too much else for preview because we don't really know much yet, obviously, unless you just go off of testing. But we're not gonna really do that too much, other than we already have. I don't even know really where Bahrain is. Sakir. In Abu Dhabi. I don't know. Anyway, Bahrain, Sakir, somewhere in the Middle East. Not my strength. So, I guess we can get to it. Unless you have any other preview stuff, we can get to our picks.
No, let's do it.
So, obviously we have our own teams and all of that. But for this race specifically, who is your podium?
I think in no particular order. Or do you want a particular order?
I want a particular order.
Okay, a particular order. I mean, Max is just so comfortable in the car. He is like fucking a hot knife through butter in this stupid sport. I don't sound like a Red Bull fan.
No, you don't.
He has Max Verstappen on his team. Damn it, that's why I'm so upset. And so he's going to win, followed by Leclerc. No, fuck that. Leclerc's winning, followed by Sainz, followed by Alonso.
Wow. Okay. If that happens, we'll have to
Perez is somewhere in there. It's not going to happen.
I think more realistically, as much as I don't want this to happen, I think Max, Charles, Checo.
Yeah.
And then
hopefully
we'll have a little difference throughout. But also, I mean, last year we had Red Bull, both cars crapping out in the first race, DNFing.
Just Max.
Which at the time we were freaking out, but
oh my god,
it would be amazing to see again. But that was also the first race with the new regulations and the new engines and everything. So not really expecting that to happen, but I mean, it is racing, so you never know what's going to come of it. So those are our picks. But it's always interesting to look at to me at least, to look at the betting odds. So obviously Max is the heavy favorite, but I always like talking about the bets. We can try and make some money at some point throughout the year.
It's fascinating.
Once the season gets going, there's definitely if there's any sport, we have a bit of a knowledge, not an edge, because it's, I guess, doing the odds, but I don't know, I feel like we might be able to find a little spot to make some money at some point. But
yeah,
we'll wait a few races until we kind of have a better idea what's going on. That's kind of about it for Bahrain. We can get into Drive to Survive. How far are you in Drive to Survive? I'm through episode 6.
Oh, I'm done. I've watched it all.
Done? Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm almost done. So far, absolutely loving it. I guess we can do a full review when we don't have a race week.
Yeah, for sure. We'll save that and dissect every episode. Some quick thoughts. Have you watched the Oscar Piastri episode with Alpine?
I just watched that one, yeah.
And Fernando. Yeah. That's my favorite episode.
It's good, yeah.
The show, and this always happens with Drive to Survive, when it hits, there's like a middle point where it hits like the most interesting part of the most interesting drama from the season. They focus on that. You get all the branching plot lines. It's the best episode. It's so fucking good. Like the way they edit it, it is a literal like drama. It seems like it's scripted. It's so good, so entertaining. And then they do slip into, I mean, it's the same thing every year. You know, you always finish on, the champion winner, the final battle. That's right before that. You always have they've done it with Yuki twice now, but it always focuses on like a lesser known driver, like Albon at Williams, George Russell at Williams, Yuki. So you do get that same thing. I do think that this season was much, much, much better than last season for obvious reasons. We're not talking about like that type of crazy controversy, but also the episodes, I don't know if this was just me, but were they shorter? Like I felt like every episode is only like 33 minutes I don't know if this is just like what I'm remembering, but I felt like they used to be like 45, 49, 50 minute long episodes.
I don't specifically remember. I mean, I guess we could look, but maybe it's 10 episodes. It used to be 8. I don't remember.
I don't know.
I think it's always been 10, but I don't know. I didn't notice. I noticed that they go by quick, but I thought that's because I was really enjoying it. I would definitely agree that they've kind of gone back to what worked for the show. I'm really enjoying the behind the scenes stuff. Definitely a lot of good standout moments. But I don't know.
Oh my god.
I'll try and pay attention more to the times, but I haven't noticed it really.
Was that episode? I think it's the reason they might be slightly shorter. It's they're just putting just like the meat of everything, like give no filler at all, which I do appreciate. Was Daniel like covered in that episode, like Pierre? Then like.
Yeah, but I think the next episode is mainly going to be about Pierre. I'm pretty sure.
Okay,
they covered Daniel like leaving, like they showed his his retirement video and like McLaren preparing to announce it and that, but it was just it was relatively brief.
I can't remember.
But
I watched them so quickly. They all blended together. It's a very brief moment, so if it's a spoiler, apologies. And also, it's the season we've already watched. It's interesting. You see that Daniel himself was like even under the impression that he might have a seat at Alpine.
Oh, okay, I did see that. Moment.
Yeah. When I saw that, I was like, damn. Like in that moment, in real life, I was hoping for that too.
That
But
would've been cool.
then you got that moment on camera of them asking the Alpine CEO, like, is there still bad blood? I mean, he left on bad terms, and they're like, I mean, it is part of the process of consideration. And you're just like, that was it. That was it. Damn.
On the bridge.
Yeah, he did. That sucks. But watching this season, last thing I'll say, Daniel really fucking sucked at McLaren. He really did. That's highly unfortunate. But as much as I love the guy, he should not have left Renault. Horrible mistake.
Yeah, kind of shit the bed there. I mean,
For sure.
the way the car is looking remains to be seen, but the way the car is looking, it kind of also seems like McLaren itself is kind of shit the bed. I mean, at this rate, they're going to lose Lando because he's
for sure. He's gone.
putting in a lot of good performances, but he's desperate to get a win, and I don't think he's going to stick around too much longer. Obviously, he has a contract, but we've seen there's ways to get out of those. So, give it a couple years. I mean, there's going to be a couple of big seats opening. So, yeah, it's a big year. Big year for a lot of teams. Big year for McLaren though. Like, they can't just keep saying next year, and talking all big, and like I don't know. They're not even like they're supposed to be at this point pushing for third or second on the grid. Instead, they're fighting for remaining relevant in fourth. So. Disappointing. Team we both like, but yeah, and drivers we both like as well, but yeah, definitely disappointing.
For sure, but we will have another episode. We're going to be recording it the evening of the Grand Prix. The audio will be up the next day on Monday, so from now on, our audios will be up on Monday, and then the videos will be up either Tuesday or Wednesday on YouTube, so that's going to be sort of the new schedule. It's going to be an exciting season. Lots of new content. We're going to be launching our website. Is there any other like predictions of this season that you want to say, or anything else before we end this thing?
Yeah, two quick things. One, I guess before we actually see what the cars and the teams really have, I guess give our final predictions. I mean, it seems at this point kind of stupid to not say Max and Red Bull, but I guess we'll give our final thoughts, and then as the season goes on, we can kind of change them. But yeah, is that the consensus thought right now, that it's going to just be Red Bull and Max?
I hope, and I think Ferrari are going to improve significantly from last season, especially when it comes to strategy and prioritizing their drivers. So I think it's going to be not so much in Red Bull's favor, hopefully.
Yeah, I mean, I hope, obviously, that Mercedes bounces back and Lewis wins, but
I don't know about that.
I'm just trying to think about what's most realistic. I mean, it's probably not as realistic, but I think Mercedes, given Ferrari's strategic history, I think they don't have as much of a chance either. But I mean, we got to see. Red Bull could crap out too. It's all just timing. And then we also have our wheel that we're gonna do for punishments. We've put down a few ideas. We've got just gonna go through them real quick. We can make more of them, but so far we've got loser. So say Lewis or Max wins, then you have to spin the wheel. One of them would be a full Grand Prix in F122 on whatever the track was that race was.
I like it.
F1, the Formula One Twitter page put out, like, each driver held up like a board that had like some information about them, and one of the things on there was favorite food, favorite drink. So that would have been helpful last year.
Yeah.
So that could be whoever the winner is, that goes on the wheel. Loser has to do whatever the favorite food or drink is.
You need to put that link. We can cite.
Yeah, it's on the sheet. You just have to scroll down.
Oh, okay, cool.
Another one, we talked about this one. You can't watch the next Grand Prix. The only way you can follow it is on our streams by the other person kind of telling you what's going on. That would be torture. So we'll just have that one maybe a little slice. But it's got to be one that's great.
Oh my god.
Singing the other person's anthem on the pod. That might be cringy, but could be funny. Do a food or drink challenge of our own choice. Like, I don't know, you have to eat a certain amount or drink a certain amount, whatever. One of us has to wear either Red Bull or Mercedes merch at the next event we go to. Like, I'd have to wear Red Bull, you'd have to wear Mercedes. Or we could also add a mustache bet. So I'd have to grow a mustache, and you'd have to shave your mustache.
Hey, we can add that in.
But, yeah, so those are just some ideas. We're kind of the flavor we're looking for, but that'll be finalized. We got working on, like I said, graphics and website and all that stuff. So
Yes.
There's always just a lot of work on top of what we're doing, but we're pushing to get it all done in the start of the season, and yeah, lots of content ideas coming your way. So yeah, last thoughts for the season for me, it's just hopeful for Mercedes. They at least seem like they're closer to the top in terms of a gap than they were at this point last year. Last year they were, I didn't know it yet, but last year the car was absolutely horrible. Hoping it's not the same this year. I'm hoping we're not going to again be seeing footage of everyone on the grid making fun of the Mercedes car like they were last year, as we saw in Drive to Survive. So yeah, that's my hope, is like at least Lewis or even George, but hopefully Lewis can at least be fighting for a podium this weekend. That would be nice. Yeah, those are my closing thoughts. What do you got?
I just hope that Max has some sort of a challenge, man. I really need him to. It can't be the same. And I think some drivers are going to surprise us. I really hope we get some surprise podiums. I feel like that was what was really lacking last season. There wasn't a lot of like midfielders getting a shot at like a podium or at the front. So hopefully we get more of that. I think that's going to happen.
We're back Saturday.
Yes.
But yeah, we're back. So everyone enjoy the race, and we'll talk to you early next week.